Well, I didn't have Let's Get a Janeway spinoff show going on my 2025 bingo card for Star Trek, but my gosh, it's like they've done every other bad idea. Why not this as well? I guess she wants to have her own Picard at 70 plus years old, and I don't see that going well whatsoever. But we're going to get into what Kate Mulgrew said and some of the background behind some of Star Trek's bad ideas that they tried to get going in the Alex Kurtzman era. We've actually dodged a lot of bullets, believe it or not, despite the fact that Section 31 exists and is the worst thing ever made in the Star Trek universe, and the fact that Discovery exists and is the next worst thing to Section 31 in the Star Trek universe. There were a few bad ideas that existed as well on top of this that we really don't want to see. Now, please hit the like and subscribe button as we talk about Star Trek and all things in science fiction. There is something good happening in Star Trek as well, which I'm going to get to in just a moment because it's in the I wrote it up in this article that happened that a lot of people miss. So stay tuned, my friends. My name's John Delarose. I'm a #1 best-selling author, and I love Star Trek quite a bit. This is kind of my ode to it. If you like Deep Space Nine, Babylon 5, this is kind of in that vein. It's called the Aritian War. It's about a human spy who embeds himself on an alien starship and has to bring back information towards Earth at the time. If you remember the episode where Deanna Troi ended up as a Romulan, like Major Rakal and the like, and was trying to help out the insurgents there, it's kind of something similar to that, a different setting, but that really inspired me. That kind of situation of spy games in space. I really loved it. I thought it was so much fun. So check this out, guys. It's in the description below. It's a 3-book series. It really builds towards an epic conclusion that pays off so well. So grab all of it today. It's available on ebook, print, and audiobook. If you're an audiobook reader, all 3 are available on audio as well. It's in the description below. Thank you so much for reading and making this a success. I appreciate you guys being here. So yeah, Star Trek fans may not have had a lot to look forward to in Alex Kurtzman eras, but more bad ideas abound around the Paramount offices as Kate Mulgrew reveals a Janeway spinoff is being pursued, similar to how they did a Picard show. Now, Picard was such a travesty. Oh my gosh. And I know everybody's going to go in the comments, Season 3, and I'm going to rebuke you right now, my friends. Season 3 was watchable, and it had the TNG cast back. And so you got duped a little bit by the member berries. The writing was okay. It was acceptable. And that is like the level. And this is honestly what all these studios are doing, from Marvel to Star Wars and everything. They've made things so bad for years that I think the audience out there at this point is like, oh, if it's acceptable and just watchable, I'm cool with it. And that's like the bar being lowered at this juncture, as they've just hired some of the most atrocious writers out there all the way around. Now, I get it. And, I watched Picard Season 3, and I found it watchable as well. But it's not something great. It did not really do honor to the next generation. It had some okay ideas and almost got there, but it still suffered from the fatal flaws of like this like dark, dreary universe Star Trek that doesn't make sense given Gene Roddenberry's vision whatsoever. It still was there. The world building is just a disaster at that point. You can't come back from that. Now, don't even get me started on Season 2. My God, what a disaster. But, this is exactly what they want. They want these, like, character-driven spin-off series, like, going on with these, like, aging stars. And you know exactly what a Janeway show would be. She'd have her, like, young lesbians in Starfleet who are, like, her proteges that are better than everybody else out there. And it'd be just an unwatchable mess. I saw one comment when I posted this on X the other day saying they already had a Janeway spin-off show. It was called Voyager. Very funny stuff. And, yes, this is what they're pursuing now, and it's very interesting. So she was on the Star Trek cruise, which honestly, looks kind of fun. I might be looking at that next year. William Shatner is actually supposed to be headlining it next year. A lot of fun. And the Star Trek cruise is a cruise ship where they basically run a Star Trek convention on a cruise ship for a week. How cool. Fun stuff. That appeals to me for sure. And she gave an evening with Kate Mulgrew sort of talk on this. And I actually like Kate Mulgrew quite a bit. I actually watched her in a one-woman play back in her glory days there, when she actually played Katharine Hepburn, who's a Hollywood actress from the 30s and 40s, and she played Hepburn in her youth and Hepburn in her elderly stage as well. And it was a back and forth kind of thing where like the first act was like her youth, the second act was her later. Incredibly acting. She did a great job. It was a one-woman stage play, and she carried the whole thing for an hour and a half herself. Nobody else there. It was wow, good stuff. So high art, and she's engaged in that. And a lot of Star Trek actors are engaged in like some high art stuff, which is what made old Star Trek so special. And what, obviously these people who do the modern stuff are not involved in that whatsoever. It's they don't understand the classical arts, and Star Trek's all about promoting the classical arts. Sorry, there's my rant for a bit, but oh well. So she gave this speech, and she was asked about whether Janeway would be coming back and the like. And this is what she said. She said, "The conversation is happening. It's being pursued." Oh, boy. So I guess this is a thing that's happening behind the scenes. And now this is pretty interesting because William Shatner actually opined at a convention a couple weeks ago that he'd like to come back to Star Trek and bring Captain Kirk back. I don't even know how that would work given the ending of Generations. But hey, that's what he wants to do. And he says he's got a writer he's talking with pursuing that. I think Paramount might pursue something like that just because it would make money, just because he's in it. This, I don't know who the audience would be. I don't think people would come back for it. Voyager's ratings were nowhere near what DS9 and Star Trek The Next Generation were. The show, I like the premise quite a bit, and the character of Captain Janeway, not Kate Mulgrew's fault at all, but the writers really didn't seem to know how to do much with her, and so they wrote her in really different directions depending on the week. There used to be when it was on the air, Star Trek fans would talk about, oh, her hairstyle signifies her mood this week, and it was kind of true. And so Voyager really didn't do great on that level. But there's some good things about Voyager as well that I enjoyed. But it just it didn't feel like it accomplished what it set out to do all the way around. And so there really isn't a need for a follow-up. They got home after all. So, that spoiler. So that was kind of the whole thing. But they did actually do this on Star Trek Prodigy. And so she already came back. And so here's Admiral Janeway on Star Trek Prodigy. And this is, again, the bright spot in the Star Trek universe. I urge everybody to watch this. This is on Netflix, and it's a kid's show. It's kind of like Clone Wars, Star Wars, or Rebels, that kind of animation, but done as Star Trek. And the first few episodes, it's about these kids who find this starship, and then it's like a cadet training starship, and Admiral Janeway is a hologram on that, who's training them for the first season. And the first 3 or 4 episodes, it doesn't feel all that Star Trek-like, and then it really opens up, and it gets into it where they actually get trained as to be Starfleet, and they have this aspiration to be Starfleet. It's aspirational. It's got smart characters. It's got heart to it. It really feels like Star Trek compared to everything else out there. This actually does follow in its mold. And it's wow, they actually do understand Star Trek. The writers did a great job, and I loved it. Now, season 2 was even better, and they really did. This is already a Voyager reunion in a lot of ways. The characters, the Doctor came back. Chakotay was an integral part of it. I'm not going to try to spoil it to you. But those three, Chakotay, Janeway, and the Doctor, were the big parts of it. And they had guest stars of other Star Trek characters throughout the season as well. It really did a number on just feeling like Star Trek in an animated sense. They did a great job, and it's already been done. And it shows the progression of Janeway, in her kind of middle-aged years and the like. So you really already got that closure for the character that's not needed for a new show. So this already exists. Now, there is a fan campaign to try to get Prodigy Season 3 greenlit, and I think people just didn't understand the show existed because there was no buzz about it. Nobody talked about it. I was one of the few people out there talking about it and even watched it, I think. And it was really some of the top-tier science fiction I've seen in years. I was very pleased with this. This was not like Picard Season 3 where it's watchable, member-berry bait. This actually did it. And so, yes, I urge that call for Season 3 to come back because I think this would be a wonderful thing if they can keep this going and actually keep the spirit of this the same way. Now, she says she doesn't want it to come across as a vanity project or have a Janeway show fall short of fan expectations. I think fan expectations of a Janeway show would be very low for it to be, and just calling something Janeway would be a vanity piece by itself. And so, yes, she also said that she'd like Prodigy to be optioned for a 3rd season. Let's fly those planes. Somebody actually flew one of those planes with a ticker tape banner behind it saying Save Prodigy last summer, which actually got this going. And that is where she's referencing on that. So I mentioned there's some other bad ideas that they have before. Kurtzman, in his infinite wisdom, actually almost greenlit a Jerry Ryan 7 of 9 spinoff from Picard. Oh my gosh, what a terrible idea this would have been. Jerry Taylor, the actress, actually turned it down. She didn't want to do it. Jerry Ryan, sorry. And thank God she did, because that character's already been so ruined as Picard. Just like, I don't want to see a continuation from that. What a terrible plan that would be. She would have been the captain of the Titan A at that point, and I think that would have been an absolute train wreck of a show. Now, Section 31 was their other spin-off idea that was supposed to be a full series. Thank God we got it relegated down to one episode. What a terrible thing there. And I understand ratings of that are absolutely atrocious too. Nobody watched it. Nobody cared about it. They've really killed the Star Trek brand off so hard under Kurtzman. It's going to be difficult to bring it back if it's possible at all. But they've attempted to get other shows like this done before. George Takei wanted a Captain Sulu Excelsior show, which actually got done in the form of a couple of audiobooks. If you find those, you can look up Captain Sulu Excelsior audiobooks, and he actually read the audiobooks, which is kind of fun on that level. And then Michael Dorn pitched a Captain Worf show multiple times. He's wanted that since Deep Space Nine went off the air, which never went around. The other pitch, of course, that everybody's been going off on for decades is Starfleet Academy. They've been trying to get that show going since the 90s as well, and it's finally happening, and it's not going to be what people want whatsoever. I don't know why they're going forward with that again. And then finally, they had a Khan Noonien Singh miniseries planned, where it was going to cover Khan from the moment he left in the episode Space Seed, got dropped off at Alpha Ceti 6, or was it Alpha Ceti 5? I can't remember which Alpha Ceti it was. One of the two. And then showing his life until Wrath of Khan. Again, another prequel sort of thing that's not necessary whatsoever. And it's just like these people just like they get the nostalgia like a little bit. Oh, people like Khan, and then they just go the wrong direction with things. And they really need somebody who understands the heart of Star Trek to take over the show at some point. We'll see what happens in the future. For now, definitely check out Prodigy, guys. What do you think about the Janeway show possibility? I think that's just dead on arrival. And I don't think they'll do it either, because I don't see anybody actually demanding this. Hit the like and subscribe button, my friends. Thank you for being here. And please check out my excellent science fiction. If you like the heart of Star Trek, if you like my ideas on storytelling, you're going to really enjoy this. Check it out. It's in the description below. Ebook, print, and audio. Appreciate you being here.